What's up, fellow lords of gaming, and welcome back to the channel. So we're launching it. It's the 9th anniversary for Marvel Future Fight, and we've got some updated uniforms, and I want to give you my impressions on those uniforms. So let's jump right on in. So I know the main uniform that I'm really particularly interested in, and we'll talk about this one to start off, is going to be Thor. I know that seems odd with Sentry being in the tier 4, but I want to cover these characters first. Thor's uniform, I'm not a fan of it. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. First impressions, I'm not a huge fan, but I do appreciate the level of work. It just feels like, compared to like the Sentry uniform, the Hulk uniform, and even the Anti-Man uniform, he's basically like almost like pulled from a different game the way he looks. I really just want them to do something more with Thor, essentially. Like, I don't know. He seems like they're doing the appropriate thing where they always keep him in the mix, but he's never like, I don't know, something's off with Thor. My favorite uniform for Thor was still the Herald of Galactus Thor, but this Rune King Thor, or take on Rune King Thor, I'll give the developers credit because the detail on this armor, it definitely looks Asgardian. It looks like something ripped out of the comic pages and put onto the screen. I could see this almost in like the Disney What If series as well, like, you know, the hammer Mjolnir looks really cool with the, you know, runes and things like that coming off the handle, and the you know, the tassels. Those look all amazing, especially the way, like, you know, his bevels and stuff like that pop off the uniform down to even in the boots area and stuff like that. It looks absolutely amazing. Something about the color scheme, like Rune King Thor never looked amazing to me in the first place, so it's just something about the color scheme with the red gauntlets, and I hate having Thor behind the mask and stuff like that. I was never really a fan of Thor's helmet in the comic book series, but it looks amazing in terms of like its presentation with the way everything shines off of it. It looks actually really good. Can't really complain about it. First impressions is he definitely seems like he's a better power up than his previous uniform, but we'll do a separate video on that solely. This is just a first impression. So let's take a look at Thor's skills overall inside of here, because I think some of them actually deserve a lot of credit for the VFX team. So the first skill, not a whole lot of, you know, anything changed necessarily there, and his 2 skill looks pretty cool. I don't know, something about the skills. Let me turn off the skill cooldown. Something about his skills with this uniform, and like playing it, feels like they just hit harder, and his rotation is better suited as well in this uniform, in my opinion. So we've got that third, and that's that charge. So that charge is you can use it to V-pad around, and I love the end of the skill. So like, there seems to be like a lot of elements basically hitting on the ability. His 4th skill, you get the iframes, and you get the heal basically right at the beginning of this skill. It's a very simple skill, nice and simple. And then we go to his 5th skill with the rotation come up. I'm not exactly ecstatic about the 5th skill, like all the iframes are in the end, but the end of the skill is absolutely amazing. Like, look at the total animation time and everything that's happening on the screen. I think you have to appreciate the way this looks. Like, I mean, he basically like winds up his axe, swarms a bubble, his axe goes flying into the sky, comes down, strikes, and then just when you think the skill is over, he basically summons the handle back into his Mjolnir back into his hand, and he does a final burst of damage. It is an absolutely amazing 5th skill. I've got to give them credit on that one. So let's take a look at the combo rotation. Really simple 5-4-3 combo rotation. So you're just gonna go 5 into 4 and then directly into 3. I kind of screwed it up there, delayed the hit on that 3. So 5 into 4 and then delay into 3. I don't know why I keep messing that up and not pressing the button. Again, I'm playing on computer keyboard, mouse and keyboard, so it's just like a little bit off for me inside here, and I make fun of 3RL all the time for it, but whatever. Anyways, so there we go. So then when the 6th skill is up, because like I said, it basically has that ability, so you can go 5, 4, it's not pleasant for some reason, 3, and then you go into 6. You basically get all the damage basically happening at the end, and there's just so much lightning effects impact, so it looks better. Like there are like, I don't know, I wasn't exactly happy with what was on paper. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased with what they've introduced overall. And then his when his tier 4 is up, it's a very simple 7 5 4 3 6 7 5 4 and then 3. I don't know what's going on, but the 3 is not pressing for me right now. Sorry about that, guys. But we got 7 5 4 3 6, and look at all the lightning just raining down around. So really impressive overall with Thor. I'm dying to see what I'm gonna do a video, because he's already at tier 4. You're basically just purchasing a uniform if you already have him at tier 4. So I'm gonna compare him in this current uniform to his previous uniform to see which one's better by running some Black Swan stages and seeing what he can do to complete those, if it's any quicker at all. Next up, let's take a look at Hulk, because I was very impressed with. I'm hoping to God Hulk is gonna be good, guys. So I think I like his uniform a lot, just because like okay. So let me be honest with this. The uniform, especially in his face and his shoulders and his feet, look really good. But then when you get like to this midsection is where the uniform starts to fall apart. Like there's just not enough detail inside his hands, essentially. Like they're big, and so they're in your face, and there's not enough detail, and just how blocky they look stand out. And then when you get around like his midsection, well, while you have this crunch that's basically happening there with his abs, everything here just looks like it's, I don't know, something about this area of it where your eyes are drawn to, because this, even on my big monitor, you're drawn away from his head and his feet where all the detail is, and you're drawn to this section of him, and there just doesn't seem to be a lot of detail there. And it seems to go whether you're in the back or the front. He looks very much like Doomsday. I'm not gonna say anything more about that, but I feel like Marvel ripped an idea basically. Yeah, he looks impressive though. I have to say he's very impressive in terms of the way he looks, and I'm overjoyed with his skill rotation and the way his VFX basically play out in here. So we get the first skill, Hulk Smash, but it's a little bit different. You know, he basically launches like a Hadouken out there, and then basically comes out. I always forget to turn off this cooldown split, so you can basically see it comes down. Basically, oh, it's a nice skill. His 2 skill, this is Sparta Kick a mother. Get out of here, right? His 3rd skill, which he's enraged, it looks really good. Like I love the it's different because you're looking at the skill, and what you're getting isn't like necessarily just like a wave that goes in, goes out. It almost spirals around him, and like something about that just makes it feel more empowering with the rage. And then you see all of the stuff basically come out. This is the reason why like this is the reason why I say like Marvel, you like, I feel like you stole something, because if you go back and watch Man of Steel, like I think it was Man of Steel, was it the second movie when he fights Doomsday or whatever you want to call the turtle that was inside there, everything about this character kind of feels like that. Like it definitely feels to me like we got Doomsday invading the game. But yeah, okay, I'll leave you guys alone, Marvel. So his 4th skill still looks like a really cool skill. He roars out, and you get all of this just energy coming down. It looks similar to Thor's lightning that's coming down, except that it's red. So it's like it very similar effect basically inside there with the lightning, the burst coming down, but it looks absolutely amazing. And then they gave Hulk a continuous burst damage skill. Like everything summons, and he just fires that off, and it just goes. You just like leave it alone. Like I was trying it out on Kang and some of the lower level bosses. I didn't try it out on Black Swan, and I was like, yo, this dude just eats. Go. His tier 3 still remains the same. It's weird because all you get to really see in his tier 3 is just a fist. You don't really get to see anything inside there, but I have to give it up for Hulk. I think he looks really cool. I'm just dying to see, like, I don't care about PvP, and I don't care about having characters for PvP, because PvP is for like the set amount of people. I really want to be able to use these characters inside PvE, and as long as I get to use them where they can, you know, clear content up to like stage like 50 or something like that, where I can use them on a day-to-day basis, I'm cool with that. I just want to see Hulk basically return to power. He's gonna have a very unique build to him. you're going to have to build him very uniquely. Hulk was always one of that. So like here you can see on my I had HP runes basically on him, right? And you're gonna have to do this because a lot of his power is going to scale based on your ability to put HP. So don't forget to do that, because where you might want to put like physical attack on him the way you would normally do this, you're gonna have to put HP on him. I'm gonna go more in depth into this in another video when I do this solely on Hulk, but just be aware of that. So far I'm enjoying the character. I think he's really cool. I like him a lot. I mean, yeah, I like the overall vibe of the character. Then we get to the man, the myth, the legend. But well, before we do that, let me because I was gonna kind of skip over it for this video, but let me go into this. Okay, so number one, there's another character that has a uniform. And that's Ant-Man, right? He does have a uniform. Unfortunately, I'm not sure I want to purchase this uniform. Yeah, I'm not sure I want to purchase this uniform. Let's go. Let me explain why. So, because there's a little bit outside reason about me purchasing the uniform. The fact that it's been so long since Ant-Man has received a uniform or any upgrade to his skills, period, basically like puts a sour taste in my mouth around the character, because I don't know whether or not that character is going to receive anything in the future in terms of being upgraded or supported in that way. And the bad part about this is that as we're transitioning into tier 4s, the necessity for me to basically invest my crystals and my money into a character that I might not get play out of just doesn't hold value for me. And for where I have the litany of characters of T4ing and I'm about to T4 another universal character, I don't really find a reason to basically invest inside this uniform. So I'm on the fence about it right now. As a content creator, I know I should purchase it, but you guys ain't supporting me like that. So like and subscribe. Take this time right now to hit that like, hit that subscribe button, because it'll help, you know, me be able to bring you additional content so I can answer some of these questions for you. So outside of that, the reason why, like I said, it's an outside reason. I started picking up solo leveling Arise, so I have to divert some of my spending that I do over there. And so I would have to be spending on costumes inside this character that just don't really like snap off at me. And like I said, it's a T3 uniform that basically kind of passes. Even with his leadership, it's a great leadership. I just can't use him in my tier 4 content. I might be able to use him in like some of the World Boss Legends, but most of us are probably re-rolling for Black Swan on a day-to-day basis. So they just put him in a really bad position. Maybe they give him a T4 as the mid-month, who knows? But let's take a look at his skills. So the skill looks cool, like the way he just like kind of like I can feel the force in the sound effect, and I really like that. His 2 skill, yeah, it's a nice little dash. I tend to like gap closers on characters, and it's definitely a really nice gap closer. Can't complain about that, especially because it has iframes throughout, so I don't really complain. This skill right here, his 3rd, where he basically summons. If you've played Black Desert Online, they have the Sage character in there, and the Sage basically summons things like this. And so all I got was like the vibes. Like I was thinking about BDO, and when I was playing, I had to stop and go play some BDO with my Sage. I'm not joking you. I literally did that because I got Sage vibes off of some of his skills. His 4th skill, where he summons basically inside these orbs that basically go around. I like the skill. I want to give credit to the VFX team. Like the guys that are doing the special effects, you guys are doing such a great job. And notice that this is a continual effect. I'm not doing anything at all. It's just running and just it's wrecking. So it's a nice skill, and I gotta give them, you know, credit. Like overall, like it's not you guys. I don't want to feel like the VFX team is not you guys. It's just not you guys. You guys are doing excellent. I just feel like because of the way the processes worked in terms of like who's getting what and when, it's handled badly. Like had we gotten this character maybe 2 years ago or something like that, this would have been phenomenal. Like, I mean, even now the skills look absolutely phenomenal. Like they're freaking great. We're gonna have to see how he pans out, because I'm gonna probably end up purchasing just so that way I can give you guys the rundown, but he'll probably be last of all of them, because if you're a free-to-play player, there's no reason for you to purchase this uniform. I'm just gonna be honest straight out with you. If you're a free-to-play player and you're trying to figure it out, There's no reason. It's a great looking uniform though. Like, you've got to give the design team credit. Like, look at this uniform. Like, I feel like this would have been the alien that, if you believe in like aliens and shit like that, this would have been the alien that would have came down and visit the Greeks and the Egyptians and, you know, went all across the planet and taught people how to build pyramids. That's what I'm thinking of, like, when I see this uniform and the ripples and the gold. Like, they took a very simple, like, gold color, and they gave it a lot of depth with the way they created the shine and everything on a uniform. Even the shine on his red chest is reminiscent of like Gladiator, but they've done a better job with it, in my opinion. And even like the cape, the way it holds in with the gold emblems up there, it's really, really a good looking uniform. Like, I might just have to purchase just because I appreciate the work that the VFX team has done in it. He's a Shadowland Claire character at this point, guys. Like, I hate to say that, but this is an absolutely phenomenal. From this to this, phenomenal. I mean, even his previous uniform for the time when this came out, it was a good looking uniform, but this, hey, you guys did your work. I love the way the hands look inside of this. Like, there's enough detail in there and textures. Everything about this uniform pops. It's just, he's a T3 character that isn't going to have very much usability, especially when you're re-rolling for Black Swans every day. But, you know, we'll see where that goes, right? So next up, what we have is the creme de la creme, or the person who everybody's going to be most interested in, and that is our man Sentry. So Darkness Emerged uniform. Finally, after so many years, Sentry is receiving his tier 4. He's also receiving a new uniform. This should have happened long ago. We should have seen something a la Mephisto, where, you know, Sentry could have gone back and forth between being Sentry and being the Void, and having that battle. It would have been a great piece to basically have in the game. I agree with some people where, like, I just don't understand why this character was made to be a superhero still. I get that in his mind he's still a superhero, but this would have been another great character to utilize the neutral tag on. I get it. It would have made him more powerful inside of PvP, because you would have had characters not being able to use like their plus ups for superhero or supervillain type damages against him. But hate to say it, this would have been a great character to apply the neutral tag to. Like, yeah, especially considering that he was Sentry and the Void. Now, keep in mind, Sentry still has a possibility to receive other uniforms. I don't know how they handle it, but at some point, Rob Reynolds basically passes away, and he passes the power on basically to others, and they have a competition between them. So we could see other Sentries, or we could see this Sentry become something different. I'm not exactly sure whether Marvel Future Fight understands that they should take it, but it's something that you could see. Now let's jump into the uniform, because I absolutely love these uniforms where we get these rib designs. I think they could have did a little bit better. I'm not gonna lie. I think they could have done a little bit better, but I think for what they have inside here, it looks really cool. So let's talk about the uniform. First of all, his hair, it leaves something to be desired, to be perfectly honest for you. But, you know, it's not bad looking overall. His hands and the way his cape is on, like, you compare that cape, for instance, to the cape that we just saw in Ant-Man, and you're like, you guys could have did a little bit better there, right? I think like the black elements with inside the uniform look absolutely amazing. Like when you look at the belt and the way the S kind of squeezes with him as he makes his movements and stuff like that, it looks really cool. I don't know why a belt would necessarily squeeze with you like that, especially like a metallic looking belt, but hey, it looks kind of cool, right? When you look at his gauntlets, I'm like immediately, every time I look at the costume, drawn to the detail in the gauntlets. Like they look absolutely amazing. Like this uniform just reminds me something out of like DC Universe Online or something like that, but it looks cool. The boots even pop a lot with the blacks. It's when we get to the ribbing that's in the reds that I start to like feel like you guys could have did a little bit more texture detail, like had the ribbing on the reds around his chest and his waist been just have had a little bit more textured look. I know they've done it for like Miles Morales' uniforms too, like this red texturing inside of the uniform, it looks really good. So I feel like if these layers right there would have had a little bit more pop, the uniform would have stood out just a little bit more. But overall, I'm going to give these guys credit. The uniform looks absolutely amazing. So let's jump in, take a look at some of his skills and see what we can have here. By the way, I don't think that you're going to get away from like his previous form is so long ago that I don't think you're gonna get away without purchasing the Sentry uniform. I don't. And if you are a PvP type player, then you're probably gonna want this uniform. He's probably gonna sit somewhere in the tiers of like, I don't think because he's never necessarily as great as like Jean Grey and freaking Thanos, but he's definitely like one of those hitters that you want on your roster to basically be playing. So let's see. So the first skill here, where he basically, you know, does his like an I-beam attack inside of here. Not necessarily a fan of it. Not, you know, like there's no iframes on it. I don't really basically see rotating into that skill a lot or anything, but it's cool. His 2 skill, nice little gap closer, but I was like kind of less than impressed with that one, to be perfectly honest with you. Like, something about this skill just feels like off, especially like the ground break that he has when he basically takes that jump up. It just feels like that's just not part of the kit, where you have a character flying, so you're basically just having his force of push create that blast. I don't know. I think that skill could have been better. But let's take a look at his 3rd skill, because this is where the character starts to actually come alive for me a little bit. The 3rd skill looks pretty cool, but it's just like the way the speed happens on the screen, and he has the trails of black and red on him, looks pretty cool. The little like Chun-Li type smash axe kick though, they could have probably done something different, like considering the Sentry's abilities. He's got this power of a million exploding suns. It's kind of crazy, right? But then we get to his 4th skill. He punches the floor, goes up into the sky, and then we get this summons that basically happens on the ground. It's not a summons, but it almost looks like a summon, because it looks like he summoned something out of the ground, and then you get the massive blast radius inside there. Not a bad looking kit overall, you know what I mean? But then we go into his 5th skill, and this is where like things get like nice. It's a la Dormammu. He basically summons the void. You can see the Sentry, and you can see the darkness, the light and the darkness on his left and right shoulders, a la Jiminy Cricket, right? And they basically then summon this void being, and that void being basically attacks everything. It's a really good looking skill. It's a good looking skill. And then his tier 4. So let's go and take a look at this combo. He's got another simple combo where it's 4-5-3. So we're just going in 4 and then 5 and then immediately into 3. Simple combo. Like, I mean, it's in there, right? So we're going to do a breakdown of these. Don't worry, I promise we'll do a breakdown of these differently inside there. And then when he has his other one up, you're just going to go 4-5-3-6. So it's just 4, 5, 3, and then cancel immediately into 6. There we go. Nice. Like there's like, it's a lot of visuals that are basically happening on it, so I don't mind them. I like them a lot in the way they have 7, 4, 5, 3, and then in 6, and that's the combo for him. So it's like, it's really nice. Like I'm not complaining with it. Like this blackness and red, 2 of my favorite colors. So I knew automatically that I was going to purchase this uniform because it just looks cool. I like the little icons that appear above his head to let you know what's happening. They're bigger than usual, so I can see exactly what's proccing. Overall, I would have to say I don't mind exactly what's going on with the uniforms. The uniforms look great. The VFX is done well. I think we need to get the alignment with whomever does the skill upgrades and, you know, those type of things set, because to have characters essentially that are at tier 4 basically get at these meager upgrades doesn't make sense. I mean, so you have the team up collection now, so beware, it's in here now, right? So you can see like reaching tier 2 with a bunch of characters. And like I said, my main problem is that we're going to see this continuation of characters being split apart. And Hulk basically is part of the Avengers Part 1. Thor's part of the Avengers Part 4. So you're going to have all these characters that's basically in these Avengers. Even Spider-Man, who was good enough already, along with Captain Marvel. People are going to have to readdress these characters in terms of where they sit inside the meta, because now these characters are going to receive these upgrade benefits for this shop with the pierce and the attack damage. Those characters are probably going to have you know, better than average stats in terms of play inside there. So definitely gonna want to have a look at these, because you have reason to essentially basically say, hey, most people, especially because most of these characters are free to play options. Like, matter of fact, I don't think there's a single character inside here that is a pay to play option. These are all free to play options. So most people are going to have these uniforms. Most people are going to have these uniforms leveled up to mythics and legendary. All of these characters have had so many uniforms that it's, you know, like you can see, I'm collecting tokens here because of transcendences and, you know, tier 3s. Most people are going to have these. So everybody is going to basically start with some of these characters at a certain space, in a certain space. So highly worth it basically to go in here and get these levels from this, and then look at what you're going to basically get, because has value, man. Like that increase all basic attack, and then you go into like your next levels and you end up with some additional pierce damage that the characters will gain from these. And you have to start looking at, like, do I reevaluate a character like Captain Marvel and her power in terms of the game? Do I reevaluate, you know, Spider-Man and look at where he sits in the game? Is he going to be able to get me a little bit more from the game? So here we are. All basic attack is increased by 9% and an increase of additional pierce damage by 1% on those characters. That's going to make all the difference if you start running around here and you're able to run the table on these and get all these skills up. Not to mention, they're going to have the abilities basically from these options inside of their kits. This is going to make those characters infinitely better. We already see it with characters like Moon Knight, and we saw it with characters like Ghost Rider getting the plus up. So it's going to have an impact here, and I think where it's going to probably mostly impact is going to be on like Spider-Man and Captain Marvel, these characters were already good enough. Getting those boosts is going to be nice. I don't think it's necessarily going to impact like Iron Man, you know, Captain America and some of the other lesser bit characters, but this is not a bad update in terms of that. Outside of that, they did redo the cosmic core inside of here, so don't forget, you can change your rewards now, and you notice that they did add in the tier 4 rewards. They changed the gold from the 2 million that it was to the 10 million. Yeah, and they've added the percent chances as well. Like the chances aren't bad. It's like 5%. So like you're going to be able to get all the CTPs, and this is a lot better. I hope this stays this way, and that is not just for this. Like I really do hope it stays. Look at there you go, carbonadium. So I'm happy with that. I'll grind to get carbonadium because I need that for tier 4 materials. This should stay this way. Hopefully in the next iteration cycles, this is not just being done for you know, for what you call it, is being done in general. Like I hope that it stays that way. Something else that I was pretty pleasantly surprised with is I'm not necessarily a fan of challenges in the daily trivia, but they did add new questions into the daily trivia. I was surprised. So like here you go. Which game mode has players compete with other alliance through members stage clearing scores? Like that's in there. Like it's alliance battle, right? Yeah, we've always had Tony Stark's real name inside here, but there was other ones that I seen inside here that was like really cool. Like it was like Quicksilver's sister. They were asking questions about that. It was questions about, you know, Alliance Conquest that was in there. So I genuinely enjoyed some of the other stuff that they had in there, and I was pleasantly surprised. Something else that they did that I was like shocked about, if you went to your notices, I collected it already, but they had an inconvenience notice that was here. And so we had the inconvenience for the stability of the game, and they just basically gave a dimension CTP chest for everyone. I got a CTP of destruction from it. I got too excited and I clicked on it. I don't know what instability they were talking about. I didn't experience it, so I don't know. I really don't know. So we'll have to see what that was. I haven't noticed any other changes necessarily inside the game, but I have to say I'm very pleased with what they've presented on the face value of what we've gotten for this. Don't forget as well, one of the things that's kind of been important to me as I've been looking at pulling money back from what I invest in certain you know, mobile gaming and stuff like that, is that they've increased now the limit for where you can go for your total slots. So now you can go up to 1,200. I've always hovered around 1200 as being like the breaking point, because you kind of need that basically to get at some of the, all the items that they have inside of here. So it's a way to permanently, if you can save up enough crystals, permanently increase that without having Ghost Shield support. I think what I'm going to end up doing with Marvel Future Fight is going back to just purchasing the Tony Stark stash, because that's always helpful. And leave it at that, so that way I can then, basically balance out what we have. There was nothing necessarily in the store that essentially was like, hey, I gotta have this item. So I just kind of left it alone. I mean, there, having a tier 3 like this or whatever, there's nothing necessarily in store, but I'll talk about these later if we'll talk about those later. But there's nothing necessarily in here that's just endeared me to make purchases. And I forgot to make some purchases inside here, but I didn't really because of outside games. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. So I didn't spend like I thought I was gonna spend on Marvel Future Fight. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is the first impressions. I'm going to bring you some more deep dives, give you the good, the bad, and the ugly of some of these 4 characters. And I'm dying to see what the mid-month has. But Century, regardless, is going to get my tier 4 because that's just the truth of the matter. So until next time, guys, hit that like and subscribe. Please help me bring the channel to the next level in 2024, so that way I can deliver you more content on a more frequent basis. I really would like to be able to give you a whole litany of games that I'm playing, and I just don't have the time and I don't have the money to basically do all of these things. And you guys contributing to the channel by commenting, subscribing, and liking the videos really does help. Appreciate it. Take it easy till next time, Lords of Gaming. Peace.